Been made the 9-2 favourite for Tuesday's $2 million Melbourne Cup after he drew barrier 6 in last night's draw at Flemington. A field of 23 runners will contest the race, and bookmakers had no hesitation in stalling Double Trigger as the outright favourite. Craig Willis reports.
Also drawing well in last night's ballot was the 1993 winner Vintage Crop, who drew barrier 8, while the number 1 position went to the John Wheeler trained New Zealand runner It's All In Fun, quoted in the latest market at 50 to 1. Last year's winner Jean fared badly, drawing 17, while the winner of yesterday's Derby, Nothing Like a Dane, will start from barrier 16. Caulfield Cup winner Doremus from the Lee Friedman stable has drifted slightly in the betting after drawing 23. But it was Double Trigger's part owner Ron Huggins who was grinning from ear to ear.
I think it's okay. I mean, I'm really unsure about how the draw will work out, because obviously the difference for us being the very quick sprints at the start is very unusual compared with European races.
Vintage Crop's just 2 away.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, I think, you know, Vintage Crop I would see as one of the major dangers. He's a great horse. I've seen him personally race 3 times this year. We beat him in the Ascot Gold Cup by about 8 lengths, but I still think he's a super horse.
Bruce, that's it for me. Plenty more racing coming up later in the show.
Kim, I want you to get the form guide out. I want your tip for the Cup before the end of the program.
I'll do that, Bruce.
Good
I
idea.
can tell you now, actually, Storm I'm going for.
Storm?
Yep.
Topical tip in Melbourne today with that weather out there. Mark Waugh was good enough to come in earlier today. We pre-recorded an interview. He's playing right now in the Mercantile Mutual Cup.
I like Keith. He always shows good form. No, I like Max. You can't beat a good Sydney Stallion.
Well, I like Ray because he always gives me a good price. I think Lee's the one because he never lets me down.
I like Bruce. I think he's the best.
You're a lovely judge. That was our producer's Brad Smith's work for the day.
Really, I would say for the year, and he's done well.
You've never been
Sadly not a genuine comment amongst them.
I was just going to say, when's the last time Max has been called a Sydney Stallion?
The Italian stallion, the Sydney stallion.
Barlow beer, I think.
Welcome, Keith.
Oh, hi, Bruce, and what a start to Cup Week. A record attendance at Derby Day at Flemington yesterday. First time the crowd has topped 60,000 and a great day's racing.
Max, Nothing Like a Dane or Octagonal, which is the better 3-year-old? Over 2,500.
Octagonal by about a half an inch, but I'm not taking anything away from Nothing Like a Dane. A great horse, a great training performance. I think Octagonal should have just about won, though.
I thought for a moment you were going to say a good ride too by Shane Dye, but you just pulled yourself up.
No, it was a good ride by Shane Dye, but Octagonal had no luck. It was the breaks of the race went Shane's way. He put Nothing Like a Dane in the perfect position. So as I said last week, to the victor goes the spoils.
Lee Freeman, welcome.
Thanks,
good day for you. A double with Gold Ace and Coachwood, and
It was a good day for the stable, but I particularly enjoyed that Derby day. I thought the crowd was great. The racing was top class.
Ray Huxley again. Do you agree with Max about the Derby?
Yes, I think the second horse should have won, Bruce, but I'm with Max. I think probably about a half length. I think if the breaks had gone his way. But I give all credit to Dye. I thought his ride was brilliant. He controlled the race from where he was.
Keith, has he got any chance in the Melbourne Cup, this horse, Nothing Like a Dane?
Well, the last horse, last 3-year-old, Derby winner to run was 1989, Stylish Century. He finished last. I don't think he's got a chance. It hasn't been done since Skipton in 41, Bruce. I don't think Nothing Like a Dane's got a chance.
Let's have a look at the Derby and we'll talk about it and listen to some of the call. Octagonal, probably, remembering that Darren Gauci couldn't ride Octagonal. He was injured after the first race on Encores and had to withdraw from the rest of the day and is not riding in the Melbourne Cup. Scriven got away pretty well. Shane Scriven goes to the rail here.
Perfect move. He's in the cerise colours. 10 out of 10 so far. He later described his own ride as a crying shame, and the Derby result finished up Shane and shame.
Well, we've got Nothing Like a Dane second. I like it, Keith. Burrito leading. I'm not sure if it was perfect to go to the fence, to be honest. I would have liked to have seen him one off straight away. Why not?
I couldn't have been happier there.
Beautifully placed there. He's going nicely. He's got him settled well. Just for shade, it looked like he was going to pull, but came back nicely. But you've got to give it to Shane Dye, Nothing Like a Dane. He's got that horse travelling beautifully. Now, from the Melbourne Cup view, look how beautifully this horse travels. Lee, surely this has got to be an advantage for a horse that's got to run 3 3,200 metres.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he does settle beautifully. I've always been a fan of the horse from the time I saw him in Sydney when he won the Champion Stakes, and he gets his head low and travels beautifully in the run. But who am I to argue with TJ Smith? But I don't know, 3-year-olds in the Melbourne Cups, it just doesn't sit with me.
Bruce, you're asking our opinion. There was division in the camp after the Derby. It wasn't a unanimous vote that Nothing Like a Dane goes on to the Cup.
What part of some of the owners?
Well, Tommy Smith swayed everyone, I think.
I might talk about that in a moment, because I thought... I've got to be careful. I thought one of the part owners' comments in the paper about the Melbourne Cup was very disappointing on Friday in the Melbourne Age. It's not a joke race. It's a wonderful event. It deserved better than it got, and I just disagree with her philosophy on the Melbourne Cup. The comment was that the Melbourne Cup's a joke race, and the more important races are the Derby and all of that. Well, they are in a classic point of view, but the Melbourne Cup is still the race to win.
The Derby's just about to be lost here, gentlemen. Can we concentrate on the odds?
Let's pick up the call. There's Octagonal trying in the pocket.
It's about to be lost, not one, Max.
Now they straighten up with the Derby. Burrito the leader. Into the straight they come. 500 to go. Burrito a neck in front. Nothing Like a Dane is getting closer. 2 lengths Principality. Octagonal is badly hemmed in. He's got nowhere to go. He's gone back to third last as Nothing Like a Dane has shot to the front. Nothing Like a Dane in front. 2 lengths Catalan opening Principality. Dana trying to get out, and here's Octagonal. Octagonal coming with a run at the 150. Nothing Like a Dane 2 in front. Octagonal starting to lift. Starts to pegging back. Nothing Like a Dane a half in front. Octagonal trying hard. Nothing Like a Dane rallies. Nothing Like a Dane wins the Derby 3/4 Octagonal. 4 away. Third in the race is Dona from Skybow out wide.
And Gay got pretty excited, as you'd expect after the race. Gay Waterhouse, I thought her speech was very moving, and for her to become the first woman to train the Derby. Have a look at her reaction up the straight. She is great for racing, just like the Hayes family, and Bart Cummings is, and the Freedmans are, and Dermot World for bringing out his horse, and Mark Johnson, all of them. But you just got to love her. Look at her.
Helen Dalton's giving it a bit too there. That's all my
No, I'll just finish with that. I mean, Helen Dalton, good on her. I mean, it's wonderful to have a great horse, but I don't like it when the Melbourne Cup is derided. To me, it's the great day in Australian sport, and if Nothing Like a Dane wins, just like Robert Sangster found out in 1980, you'll understand what the Melbourne Cup means to Australians.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, might get Dermot World later to quote Banjo Patterson, but when he when he penned the riders in the stand, then Gay relived it for him yesterday, didn't she?
Yeah, what does switching the tail mean in a horse? Nothing Like a Dane gave it a switch from about the last 80 metres. Does that mean the horse is tired?
I did see it yesterday, and I'd forgotten until I saw it again today. I don't like it.
What does it mean?
Can be tiring.
It means he was flat, and Shane Dye had given him one, and he sort of went, oh, I can't give much more. I think that's a sign.
Another point with that was the run of the tempo of the race, which wasn't particularly quick, which made it definitely harder for Octagonal. So certainly Nothing Like a Dane is in the record books. He's an outstanding 3-year-old, but Octagonal, I think, was definitely unlucky.
Yeah, look, I think he should have won by about a half a length. I think we all agree with that. Gay was obviously thrilled to bits after the race. She spoke to Craig.
Yes, he is going to run in the Melbourne Cup. We've discussed it long and hard before the Derby. It's not something you decide instantly. But Dad's influenced the owners, and I think very rightly so. You know, when you go through the record books, there haven't been many 3-year-olds start, but whenever they have started, they've been exceptionally hard to beat.
Okay, what did Dad say to you after the win?
Dad said, run the bugger. Get out, he said, run him in the Cup. He said, there's no just thinking about it now. He said, the die's cast.
Yes, run him. Tommy always liked to run him. Do you think
Tommy says, you can't win a race when you're at home in the stable?
Next, the fact that Tulloch didn't run, do you think that's on Tommy's mind at all with this horse? I mean, we've talked about, what was it, 1957, I think, wasn't it, or 58?
57, Tulloch.
Yeah.
Well, nobody would know what's on the master of Tulloch Lodge's mind, but it's a very fine mind when it comes to race horses, and as soon as you say he won't do something, he'll prove you wrong.
Interesting sidelight. The horse was an original entry for the Melbourne Cup and would have been allotted something like 45 kilos. Now has to carry 47.5, and I believe Shane will ride him at 48.
It's interesting.
I mean, they pay
to ride at 45 kilos.
No one I know.
They pay for the gamble too. It's $40,000, the late entry fee to run the Cup.
Well, here's Tommy, also after the race.
He's running the Melbourne Cup.
And what do you base that decision on, today's run?
He's a 4-year-old actually to look at instead of a 3-year-old. And 3-year-olds can win this Cup.
Well, I'll tell you why I think he's got a chance. I don't think our horses are very good this year. I mean that with due respect. I thought the Caulfield Cup was a bit down in class, and I think the Melbourne Cup is. except for Vintage Crop and Double Trigger. And by the way, Dermot World and Mark Johnston are in the studio right now, and they'll be joining us after the next break, the trainers of those horses. Octagonal beat our horses in the Cox Plate. I just think he may be exceptional and the older horses are not, and I think he has got a chance. I don't think we should compare him with Stylish Century, who was a runaway leader. This can stay, I think.
Well,
I think he's in with the race.
He relaxes so well. But you've made a point. Is this a class Melbourne Cup?
No.
Is this a vintage Melbourne Cup? Here you've got a very strong 3-year-old form line with Octagonal. And even if Octagonal should have just narrowly beaten Nothing Like a Dane, the form still stands up.
I agree.
Look, you're falling into an old trap, Bruce. You should not say that before a race, because often a horse might be Double Trigger win this cup by 8 lengths, and we'll be talking about the 1995 Cup as being one of the most fantastic ever. It's not until the day that you can judge a race.
It's a point I accept, but I think you have to make an analysis before an event, and I don't think this field is particularly strong from the older Australian point of view.
What about a man that's had some experience with Melbourne Cup fields, Lee Friedman? What do you think of the field this year?
Oh, I think without Dermot and Mark's horses in it, it would look decidedly one-paced.
Ray?
Nothing Like a Dane. He's still on his first preparation, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's been a remarkable effort to get this far.
Remarkable effort to get this far. He can go on and then win the Melbourne Cup. Staggering.
I felt a bit for John Hawkes after the race. Second and third, terrific, but he would have been disappointed with Octagonal. He took a long time to make up his mind during the week whether to run his Cox Plate winner, and he did, and he didn't have the best of runs.
You know, I was quite happy to run the horse, and I'm not disappointed that I ran the horse. You know, the other one, he's a good horse too, but anyway, the other horse won on the day. That's the way it goes.
What about the rivalry? Tony Burke, our good friend, wrote an interesting story in The Age about Gai Waterhouse versus John Hawkes. You're the Sydney man. Is there a definite edge to that rivalry, more than, say, Friedman versus Hayes?
I was going to ask that. Is there rivalry between Friedman and Hayes? I'd say it's the same. I think they both respect each other. They're great competitors.
But
they all want to win.
John took that hard yesterday, I think, don't you?
Well, John takes it hard when he does the job and perhaps the jockey doesn't.
Well, Shane Scriven thought that the horse didn't have much luck. Here's the jockey's reaction.
Probably for 2,100 metres of those, I was getting the run of the race, and exactly where I wanted to be. Everything was falling into place. Just when I started to make my run, I had nowhere to go. And at that point, you know, I would have liked to have been rolling into the race. I just had to come back a length, move out, and then go forward again. Meanwhile, the winner was putting a bit of a gap in me, and I just failed to run him down. And I reckon it's probably... The manoeuvre cost me 2 lengths, and I've been beaten 1.5 lengths. So probably nearly should have won the race, I figured.
Don't think anyone will disagree with that.
I think he summed it up pretty well in a pretty sportsmanlike manner too. He's virtually admitting that had he made the other option, he would have won the Derby.
Look, let's leave the Derby for a moment. Let's go on to the Big Oaks trial, the Wakefield. More on the Melbourne Cup coming up after the break. Gee, Sallius was impressive. Pontolas was enormous, but other than that, I thought Not On Friday had every chance and probably can't win now on the weights. Shame, Brackenbank, Nightclub, we can go on.
Brackenbank's gone out.
OK, but only from this you'd only say maybe the winner, but doesn't meet it too well on the weights. But gee, the third horse from the Oaks.
I tell you, we've got to wait another year, but this really underlined the significance of weights. The fillies who were penalised were beaten, and those who avoided the penalty ran the Quinella at least, I can't remember what ran, third, but Pontolas. It was
the run of the race.
Well, it'll win the Oaks because it's...
there it is at the moment, number 1.
Couldn't believe she got up to run third.
It was a huge run. Damien made a big run in the straight. But I'll tell you what was great about this race was the way Sallius quickened and dropped Not On Friday at the 300. It was exciting to watch.
Alas, I was on Not On Friday.
She had a great run, didn't she? I thought, in fact, Michael Clark, good on him. Didn't he ride well? He was at Donald the day before riding a winner for his brother. He came out and rode this perfectly and then rode a Group 1 winner with Brawny Spirit.
And Pat Hyland, who trains this filly, has likened her somewhat to Rom Stiletta, on whom he won an Oaks. And he thinks she's going to be very competitive on Thursday, and on the run she's got to be.
Let's see how she quickens away. Now, Pontolas's white cap getting down to in the middle there, about 10th. Watch her run on. Here's the call.
2.5 in front now. Out after it is Not On Friday. Salius has got a big break. 3 lengths Not On Friday. Tenacity, Rubidium, Brackenbank and Arctic Scent. But Salius a mile in front at the 100-metre mark. They won't get her. Good on you, Pat Hyland. She's 4 lengths in front now from Not On Friday and rattling home Pontolas. But Salius wins easily. About 4 lengths Not On Friday, and Pontolas from third last. What an Oaks eye catcher that was. It's run third. Further back then Brackenbank, Rubidium, Arctic Scent.
The comment was made earlier how difficult it was to make up ground yesterday and the times that they were running. That was just a phenomenal run, Pontalas. And I'm not taking anything away from Pat's filly. She's very good too, but I think Pontalas will beat her in the Oaks.
6-4 Pontalas, right?
Right on the knocker. And if draws well, a bit shorter.
One other little sideline before we go into the Melbourne Cup preview after this. It was great to see Simon Marshall win yesterday on Auntie Mary, and I think he had a lot of fans out there. We know the difficulties he's been under. He rode a beaut race, and this was his reaction.
For a 24-year-old, mate, I've been through a lot. I mean, you know, there were some heartbreaking stages there through my career, and there was some doubt whether I was going to ride ever again. To come back today and win on this mare is probably one of my biggest highlights of my career so far.
And gee, the bloke can ride. We know that.
Ride.
Can he ever?
Sorry, Bruce. When they went across the line, in close-up, you can see him go, beauty, you know, as they went across the line.
The joys of racing when you're a winner. Dermot World, Mark Johnston join us after the break. The trainers of Vintage Crop and Double Trigger.
Noni has agency. This is what it was like the day before the Melbourne Cup.
Here's my bet for the Cup. Thank you. Oh.
And if you make a Cup Pack bet Monday, you'll get a free mystery bet on the Cup.
Oh, oops, nearly forgot my free mystery bet.
Beat the rush. ACTAB recommends that you bet early.
Back once again, Dermot World and Mark Johnson, as I said, have joined us. Dermot from Ireland yet again. Dermot, it's great to have you back for the third consecutive year.
Yeah, it's good to be back again, Bruce.
With Vintage Crop, and Mark Johnston for the second year, this time with Double Trigger. Welcome to Channel 7, Mark.
Thank you.
We can't do any pommy bashing. We've got a Scot and an Irish man together. We've been dying to get a pom in here. Dermot, I just get the feeling that things are going very well for you. I mean, this time last year, we didn't know whether he'd run or not, and he ran such a great race after travelling slightly wide.
Well, no, I think the injury last year where he had to get the 14 stitches, that was the main problem. No, he's travelled well, he's in good order. I hope we keep getting some rain, and I expect a good run from him.
And Mark, are you absolutely happy with everything you've seen with Double Trigger?
Yeah, absolutely as happy as I possibly can be, but I keep reminding myself that I was happy this time last year with Quick Ransom, and that didn't do me a lot of good.
I think he ran second last, didn't he?
Yeah.
So what do you think, Dermot? Do you think Vintage Crop's a freak, that he's acclimatised? I mean, because Clifton Gale did very poorly as well. I mean, is he a freak, or do you think it can be done regularly?
I don't think it can be done regularly. I think Vintage Crop is a very good horse. He's entitled to one last shot of the race. But it can be done.
Dermot, I know it's a source of annoyance for you, but his age keeps regurgitating in conversation. He's 9 by our time. Only 2 8-year-olds have won the Cup. One was in 1938 and the other was last century.
So
did it? So how's your veteran going to do it on Tuesday?
Well, he doesn't know his age.
Right.
And I don't think his age is going to stop him. He possibly has lost a little bit of his dash. He's not as good over at 1.6 miles as he used to be, but no, I think there's another year in him.
Dermot, I'll put it to you. I saw him briefly yesterday morning. I think he's in far better condition than he was like the first 2 years.
I think he's in the same condition as the year he won it.
Yeah,
well same condition as his winning year.
Yeah, well, last year things just he didn't travel that well coming out last year, and then the injury really set him back, and he ran a smashing race.
Well, we'll look at that gallop yesterday, and also your gallop, Mark, later, and the fact that you went to Sandown yesterday, Lee, with 2 of yours. Let's go to the McKinnon, though, because, as you'd know, Dermot and Mark, this is our traditional lead-up. Unfortunately, Patara's Baby, which was the outstanding run in the race, bled and won't be running. I think he probably would have run second favourite, Ray. Would that be fair?
Favourite, yeah. I would have had him almost equal favourite if he'd run on that performance yesterday, despite what Max keeps saying about the horse.
And the key now, I mean, we've got Damewin here.
Is he?
Damewin here, who's run a good race. He's a really top horse, and he's going to Japan. But from a Melbourne Cup point of view, the two that I guess we're really going to look forward to are Storm and Jern. Now, Storm gets back and Jern gets back. In fact, they race together for much of the event.
If we've got a wide-angle lens, we'll see Storm.
What's your assessment of the run, Lee?
Well, initially I was disappointed until Greg reported that with Jern on his inside, he kept sort of getting wide on the horse and sat wide. Some stages of the race he said he was 4 and 5 deep. Went very deep on the corner. I didn't know what to make of it. The horse has pulled up perfectly. I still think he's right in the race with a good chance.
The only comment Greg made after the race to me, Lee, was that he was happy with the run, except he just would have liked to see him put in a bit more at the finish. Have you got a comment, a reply to that?
Well, we all like to see things that we don't see sometimes, but I was happy enough with
it. It's a wrong race for him, really. I mean, coming back from a 2,500 metre handicap to a weight for age 2,000.
He's the widest horse. Widest horse now with Jern inside. Pratara's Bay runs away from him. Jern gets up alongside. Now Damon gets the beautiful run. Let's take Brian Martin's call now. There's a bit of interference. Jern got half skittled there. Storm's behind them. I actually like Jern in the last 150. He just keeps coming. Here we go.
Peter Markin shot a length and a half in front of Station Hand. Journer's late was Starstruck back in the middle. Damon a length and a half in front from Station Hand. Then Starstruck, Pratara's Bay. Jean can't go on. Damon getting tired. He's 3/4 in front. Oliver will get him home. Damon wins a McKinnon 3/4 Pratara's Bay. Starstruck 3rd and 4th is Jean on the outside.
He's a fair way back, Storm, wasn't he, at the end? They left him.
It's the first time I've seen the replay since, and I'm happy.
You're happy?
Don't forget, Bruce, the stewards noted that Gregory didn't put Storm under a great deal of punishment over the latter stages. Not that that would have made a great deal of difference, but still I'd say he'd come out of the race feeling pretty good.
Keith?
Well, yes, I thought Storm ran quite creditably.
What about Jern?
Jern, he's starting to put in too many of those runs that he gets beaten. There's still some order of praise for him. He's just getting beaten too often for my liking, but he's there again, I suppose, but with his bigger weight this year, and it's going to be hard.
I would have liked to have seen Jern go past Pratara's Bay in the last 100 yards.
Mark and Dermot, what did you think of Jern and Storm?
I would always fear Jern, you know. I suppose it's easy for us to be limited to the horses that we know, or certainly in my case, I can't forget last year. I can't forget that I came here thinking Jern couldn't win it last year.
Dermot?
I was impressed by Jern. I thought it was a good run. He's come very wide. Over a distance too short for him nowadays. I definitely fear him.
And hard to comment on Leeds because you haven't really seen Storm before, have you?
I haven't seen Storm before. He's run an excellent race. Obviously a big chance at the weights.
At the weights. Well, Damien Oliver was pleased as punch in winning. He's not going to Japan to ride the horse, Jackie Shea is. He spoke to Craig after the race.
Well, congratulations. You went to the front and just about stayed there. It was a couple of them were trying to run you down.
Yeah, they did. You know, I sort of got to the front a little bit soon, but I know this horse can sprint quickly for about 200 metres and then he just maintains it. So if I get that bit of a break on him, I thought they'd be struggling to catch me.
Bob Thompson thinks the horse can go to 2,400 metres?
Yeah, I think he's going to be competitive in the race. You know, his best distance has always been 2,000, but I'm sure he'll acquit himself well in the Japan Cup.
You're on fire at the moment?
Yeah, geez, I wish Shunny would have stuck. He's making it blue.
Well, it's a shame for Damien, isn't it? I mean, he's promised Damien the ride. This is the owner of Damien in the Dubai Cup, but that's a long way away.
Look, he's a very good horse, Damien, but I just don't know whether he's on the pedestal we put him on, although he is the first horse to win 2 Group 1 races this spring, so he's pretty good.
What sort of pedestal we put him on? He's a damn good racehorse. He's a genuine racehorse. He would have figured, I think, in the Cox Plate finish, only he got skittled. He's a good racehorse. He'll go well in Japan, but I would prefer Damien Oliver to be the pilot.
Well, look, some big news today. Jim Wilson has been out at Flemington. A lot of rumours surrounding Jim. Would he run in the Melbourne Cup? He spoke to Peter Hayes this morning.
Well, Peter, what's the word? I had a phone call 5 minutes ago from Angus Gold, and he's on the way to the airport. So the horse is running. It's terrific news. Oh yeah, great news. Yeah, we're delighted about that. We felt after his run yesterday that he'd be better placed in the Melbourne Cup than the Japan Cup. We advised Angus Gold, and he advised the Sheikh that that's what we felt, and he's agreed, so that's wonderful news. Are the plans still to go to Japan and also Dubai? No, the horse won't go to Japan. He will just run in the Melbourne Cup, come back, run in the Australian Cup. If he's in top form, he'll go to Dubai.
Jim Wilson there from 790 News. So big news, Jern not running in the Japan Cup, is running in the Melbourne Cup. That's great for us. The Crown Quality, let's go to that now. Coachwood, Lee's horse. was a great ride, this, I thought. Brian York, he summed it up. He was on a one-pacer. He went out hard, slowed them up, kicked away. Suddenly, Lee, you've gone from 3 to 4, I feel, don't you?
Well, you know, this horse, is, as you said, is very one-paced, and we've never led on him before. And I was really happy when we got Brian to ride him, because I think Brian's probably the best front-running jockey in Australia. I've seen him ride some great races from the front, and I think he caught a lot of people napping in this race.
Is your intention now to lead in the Melbourne Cup on this horse?
I don't think you can go in with any sort of intention. There's a lot of pace in the race, and you've just got to leave it up to these good jockeys to know whether they can lead or not.
Is Double Trigger going to want to find the front marker? You know, we've seen him lead in races on video. Where do you think he might be early?
And we've got grave doubts of whether he can get to the front, never mind. I want to be there. You know, as we understand it, there'll be a lot of people out there wanting to get their name mentioned first time past the post. We'll just have to take it as it comes. Hope he leads at the end, that's where it counts.
Were you impressed, Keith, Max, Ray, with this win of Coachwood? I mean, where does he come into?
Oh, he comes in at Bolter's odds with a lightweight chance. One thing that you can have in writing, any horse that finished behind him in this race has got no hope in the
Max?
Glenn Boss, what are you doing back there? Have a look at the start he's giving. I'm not taking anything on. Perhaps if he'd ridden it up
You're
closer.
talking about Dupan, who's left of screen.
Yes, he's gave far too much
Max,
start.
I might leave you. Ray?
It was a nice win on a track that really suited the front-running horses. I don't think he's a Melbourne Cup chance.
No, well, he ran last year. He was immature. In fact, Shane Dye, the famous story is that Shane Dye selected this horse instead of Jern last year, didn't he?
Yes.
And rode him.
Yes. Actually, this winner was beaten in the Benalla Cup and beaten in the Geelong Cup. He's consistent.
I got to say, I reckon he's a chance. That was a good win.
Third run in a week.
Okay. Now, I mean, if Mark Johnson had a look at that horse's form, and he's got a horse that he's had 5 group wins this season, Mark, hasn't he, Double Trigger?
Yeah, he's had 5 group wins this season. Unfortunately, the last one wasn't the win, and that's, I suppose, the biggest question mark about him.
Well, I don't think a horse has ever gone into the Melbourne Cup with better credentials, 5 group wins in a year, in a season.
And Kingston Town might have won you.
If a horse that's the best horse in Europe cannot beat Coachwood, who was beaten in Benalla, I would say that the standard of racehorse in Europe has dropped considerably.
Can we clear something, though, Mark? Can we clear something to Dermot and Mark without being disrespectful? We say that Double Trigger's the champion star of Europe. Lam Tara must be the champion star of Europe. He's won the Arc, the King George and the Derby. Do you only consider stayers past a mile and a half? Because Double Trigger's not as good a horse as Lam Tara, is he?
No, absolutely. We would only consider stayers to be a mile and 6 plus. My big argument would be that Double Trigger is not actually rated anywhere near as high as Lam Tara. Lam Tara, of course, is the best mile and a half horse we've seen, but Double Trigger's the best 2 miler.
Yes, because we call our stayers mile and a half up. So there is a big difference, isn't there, between the two. Dermot, just for you, a little bit of vision coming up. I know you're a bit keen on this. In fact, no, I've just jumped the gun with it because I want to get back to you, Lee. I do get excited about.
Oh, you've upset Dermot's got no idea what's in store for him now.
It's called
He's saving it till last in case he walks out, aren't you?
It's like Solveit's pony. I'm a little teaser, Rosie. Mick Dittman, you've got for Quick Ransom. This is what Mick said after he rode Gossips. Mick, he rode Gossips, but he's now on Quick Ransom because poor old Gouch can't ride it. This is what he said.
Going back to Tuesday, the main dangers.
Oh, well, it's never an easy race. You know, you've got to respect those horses from England. They're both very good horses. I think that Boart and Dory Amos are both good chances in the race. But it comes down to the horse who can get the good run and can stay the 2 miles. So, you know, one thing about this horse, he will run 2 miles.
You'd agree with that, Mark. And so Dory Amos, a lot of names at Doremus. Now for you, Dermot. We're going to have a little treat because you are the #1 ticket holder, I believe, in Ireland of the North Melbourne Football Club. So here it is, the night final, Dermot.
Oh, good.
Is it true that you're really keen on them?
Yeah, well, we get them all the time on our, on our Sky Television. But yes, I'm a big fan.
And are you going out to North Melbourne again this year?
Well, we'd hope to. Yeah, Dennis Pagan does a good job, and Wayne Carey and.
Good judge.
You're North Melbourne. Well, let's see what sort of a judge they are on Tuesday. We're going to take a break and we're going to talk specifically about some of the horses that didn't run yesterday and hone in with the 3 trainers on their chances after this.
So let it all come down.
In just a moment, we'll go back to the panel. Before then, Craig Willis has looked at some of the chances in the Melbourne Cup who didn't go around yesterday.
This was Darren Gauci on Friday, talking about his Melbourne Cup ride on Quick Ransom.
I have no doubt he'll stay to 2 mile, and that's what I like about the horse.
This was Darren Gauci yesterday at Flemington. In the first race, he fell from his mount Encores. He'll miss the Melbourne Cup. A bitter blow for a jockey who's finished second on 2 occasions in the big race.
The lacerations are